So here's something that I've noticed after 15 years of doing this job. The people who never go broke, and I mean never, they're not the ones that earn the most. They're not the ones with like the most complicated portfolios. They're the ones with the simplest systems and rules quietly running in the background, whether they're paying attention or not. So today, I'm going to give you 3 simple rules. That's it. No spreadsheet, no noise, no chasing the latest trend. Just the minimum effective dose that's going to make going broke almost impossible, whatever you earn. And one of these rules, right, most people are getting completely backwards, but I'll get to that. All right, so first up, there's this guy I worked with a few years back, and he came to me with this spreadsheet, right? It was a monster. 14 budget categories, color coded, the lot. Groceries, subscriptions, eating out, gym memberships, you name it. Literally everything was in this spreadsheet. And yet, every single month, he was overspending. Every single month. And he just literally couldn't work out why. And I looked at him and was like, look, here's your problem. You're tracking everything except the number that actually matters. Now, you might be thinking, what is that number? And this is where it gets super, super interesting. I call this your burn rate. It's super simple, right? So add up all of your must-pay bills. So rent, mortgage, loans, insurance, things that are really, really important to live and survive today. Then divide that by the total money that's actually going into your bank account each month. That is your burn rate, right? That's your percentage. So think about how if you just existed, what is your annual burn rate? And the rule is this: try to keep that under 50%. And if you do that, you'll have an actual structural safety net that is built right into your finances that just makes you completely safe from essentially ever going broke. Full stop. Actually, stop for a second. What I want you to do is do this right now. Okay, so grab your phone, open your banking app, whatever it is. Just look at the last month. Okay, don't overthink it. Don't try to be too precise. Just find a rough total of everything that goes out as a fixed schedule every single month. So not like choices on what you spend, but a fixed burn rate every single month. So give you a second to do that. Once you've got it, good. Hold that number in your head, because in about 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you that something super, super important. So the logic is this: if you take home, say, £4,000 a month and your fixed costs are £1,800 a month, your burn rate is 45%. You're fine. But if those fixed costs creep up to 2,200, you're above that 50%. You've got no buffer, and you're one expected bill away from probably quite a serious problem. Now, if you're a higher earner with large mortgage costs, childcare costs, and all that sort of stuff, sometimes keeping this under 50%, that can feel tight. That's real, right? I understand that. But here's the thing. This number is what I call your sleep at night number. When your burn rate is under 50%, you stop lying awake, sort of running through these worst case scenarios. Redundancy, a market crash, a £5,000 car bill repair out of nowhere. None of it kind of breaks you. You're not just fine, you're kind of untouchable. And every single percentage point you can shave off that number moves you further towards that territory. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be moving in the right direction. Now, here's why this works psychologically. One number is easy to monitor. One number is easy to defend. One number is incredibly easy to rebuild around if life goes sideways. Job loss, health issues, whatever it is. Compare that to like that spreadsheet that guy had where he's tracking 14 different categories, where you can convince yourself that everything is fine because the grocery spend looks okay this month. Even though your total fixed burden is quietly like strangling you. The mistake I see time and time again is people confusing tracking more with controlling more. They're not the same thing, not at all. And actually, I want to know where you guys land on this one. Once you've done that calculation for yourself, drop a comment under this video of over or under in the comments right now. No judgment, just a starting point. So here's your quick win tonight. Pull up your last 3 months bank statements, add up to your fixed cost, divided by your take home. That is your burn rate. That's your number. If it's under 50, great, we build on that. If it's over 50, that's your starting point. You know exactly what to fix. Once you know your burn rate, that is perfect. You know exactly what's left over. But here's the thing, most people can take that leftover cash and just throw it straight into the leakiest bucket of all time. So, question, would you rather earn 10% of your investments and hand half of it to the tax man, or earn 6% and keep every single penny? Most people are so busy trying to get the best return, pick the winning investments, and get the best stocks that they don't even notice the significant money leaking out the bottom. That leak is the tax that you're paying unnecessarily. We call it tax drag, and it's quietly eating your wealth right now without you even noticing it. And here's how to think about it. Okay, so for every £100 that you earn, there's a quiet ghost sitting at the table. You can't see him. He doesn't say anything. But before you get to touch that money, he takes his cut. Sometimes £40, sometimes 45. If you're earning between 100,000 and 125,000 and caught in what's called the tax trap, he is taking a staggering £60 out of every single £100 that you earn. That ghost is the tax man. And rule 2 is about making that ghost disappear entirely. If you've ever looked at your payslip and felt like you were working for HMRC more than yourself, hit the like button. It tells me that this is a topic worth going deeper on. Think of it like, as I said, like a leaky bucket, right? Most people are completely obsessed with turning up the tap, getting better returns, earning more money, getting a higher yield, the next best investment. But nobody's looking at the hole in the bottom. If this hole is big enough, it doesn't matter how fast that water is coming in, let me assure you. I have worked with so many people that get themselves stuck in this position. I worked with one couple once, lovely people, really, really on top of things, so they thought. They were getting around 7% a year on their investments, and they felt great about it, and they were genuinely very happy with how it was all going. And then, you know, when they came to see me, they were very proud. And then when I first saw them for the first time, we sat down and actually worked out the numbers properly. After tax, after fees, after the drag of holding it in the right accounts, they were maybe keeping 4% a year net of that return, maybe. And they'd been doing this for years, right? Thinking of getting 7, but actually getting 4. Talk about wake up call. So here is rule number 2. Before any money moves, and I mean any, it goes through the tax filter first. ISA or pension first. Taxable account, never. Hopefully, if you can avoid it. Now, let me make this really simple. Think of 2 people, 2 identical salaries, identical investment choices, identical returns. The only difference is that one person uses a sort of special tax-free account, while the other one uses a normal one, but the government takes a slice of their profit and a slice of their earnings. But over 20, 25 years, the difference in their final pot isn't small. It's the kind of number that makes you feel genuinely sick if you're on the wrong side of it. Because compounding works on what you keep, not on what you earn. So here's the filter in plain terms. Think of your pension as what we call power, right? It's the heavy lifter. You're investing with money that would have otherwise gone straight to HMRC. It grows for decades, absolutely untouched. Your ISA, on the other hand, is speed, right? It's post-tax money, but it's growing completely tax-free. No capital gains, no dividends tax, nothing. And crucially, essentially, this is why it's speed, you can pull it out whenever you need it. There's no government lock-in, unlike your pension, which, of course, you can't touch until you're 57 at the earliest. Currently 55, soon to be 57. Everything outside of these 2 wrappers, HMRC gets a seat at your table every single year. And both are genuinely worthwhile using. Quick one for the comments. Are you currently prioritizing power or speed, pension or ISA? I'm genuinely curious as to where people's kind of heads are at right now with all this sort of stuff. Now, I hear this a lot, but I need access to my money. And look, yes, as I've said, that is a real concern. And that's exactly what your ISA solves. You can pull that money out whenever you need it. You're not locked into anything. So that objection, it just kind of doesn't really hold up. And here's the minimalist angle. You don't need 6 different investment accounts across a dozen different platforms. You just need 2 accounts structured correctly, pension and ISA, either your workplace pension or some sort of SIP or self-invested personal pension and an ISA. One for the long game and one for flexibility. So simple. Getting this filter right is kind of only half the job though, to be honest with you. The other half is making sure that you never have to rely on willpower to actually use it. And that is where rule number 3 comes in. So most people, when they think about automating their finances, right, they will set up direct debits for their bills, maybe a standing order into sort of savings, right? And they feel sorted, organized, on top of it. But here's the thing. All they've done is automate like the basics, the floor. They've covered the minimum. And then guess what? They spend whatever's left. And what's left always gets spent. Always. Rule 3 is about automating the ceiling instead, not just the floor. And here's the reframe that I want you to hold onto. This isn't about restructuring or restricting your life. It's about buying back your brain. Because right now, every single month, you're burning mental energy on the questions that you shouldn't even have to ask. Did I save enough this month? That is exhausting after a while. It creates guilt, it creates friction, and it creates the kind of decision fatigue that makes you give up entirely. So rule 3 makes that disappear completely. You stop trying to save and start knowing you're building wealth automatically every single month without thinking about it. Here's what I mean. Once your lifestyle costs are covered, once your burn rate is handled, every pound above that threshold gets automatically swept into your ISA or pension before you even see it, before it even hits your account, before your brain registers it at, easy for me to say, registers it as money that you can actually spend. The decision is kind of removed from the equation entirely. Now, I want to tell you about something that I've seen play out more times than I can see, than I've ever can count. Someone gets a pay rise. Brilliant, right? Except 12 months later, they feel no richer, no better off, not even slightly. They're just watching their spending increase to match their new salary. A nicer car, more meals out, slightly better holiday. None of it made them maybe potentially meaningfully happier. They just had less left over to spend at the end of the month before the raise. This is called lifestyle inflation. It's a trap that keeps you feeling broke no matter how much you earn. And the fix is so simple. When your income goes up like this, your automated ceiling goes up on the same day. The amount that you're putting into your savings, your investments, your ISAs. Standing order on payday. Not a manual transfer that you'll get around to eventually, because we all know how that ends. An automatic sweep, same day your salary lands. That is when the eventual story changes. Now, I know some of you are thinking, I've got discipline, I'll just move it manually. And I say this with genuine sort of respect. No, you won't. Not consistently. Not for years. Here's the truth. Your brain is a spending machine, not a saving machine. It is extraordinarily good at finding reasons to spend money that's sitting right in front of it. It's not a character flaw. That's just how we're all wired. Willpower is not strategy. It's a liability. And the moment that you rely on it, you've already lost. The system has to be stronger than the impulse. That is the whole point. And here's where it all connects together with these 3 simple rules. Your burn rate from rule 1 tells you exactly where your ceiling sits. The tax filter from rule 2 tells you where your money goes. Automation from rule 3 makes sure it actually gets there without having to think about it, remember it, or summon some weird level of willpower after a long week. You're not restricting your life. You're making sure that every pound above what your life actually costs goes to work for you automatically. While your present self sort of carries on, as it were, before. That's not deprivation. That's a machine that builds wealth while you sleep. So here's what I want you to do tonight. Just one simple thing. Pull up your last 3 months of bank statements. Add up all your fixed costs, everything else that takes it into your basic burn rate of standard of living. Divide that by your take home. That is your number, your burn rate. That is your starting point. Everything else builds from there. Because once you know it, you can set the ceiling. And once you set the ceiling, you can automate it. And once it's automated, the machine runs whether you're paying attention or not. Now, the one thing that most people get stuck on after this is figuring out that kind of exact split between things like pensions and ISA. How much goes to where, in what order? Well, that can completely depend on your different levels of income, which is why you should really watch this video here next to try to keep as much of that away from HMRC as possible and to adapt to how much you're earning to make best use of it. I've covered that in detail in this video here, so give it a click and I will see you there.